The #1 team in the land ready to start its title defense. Syracuse and Providence moments away from kicking off. But before we do anything, we got to take a look at the starting 11. First up for the Orange, a very familiar 3-5-2 under head coach Ian McIntyre.
In Syracuse, a huge player to watch, Jason Smith. The goalkeeper battle, kind of a question mark heading into the season.
Meanwhile, for the Friars, a 4-4-2 on paper, but much more fluid and dynamic in practice. Number 10, Gavork Diarbian, with 9 goal contributions last year. 2022 All-Big East second team selection. The referee's whistle sounds. We take a break. And now, under the lights, under the national championship banner, Syracuse soccer finally back in action on the Hill. And the ball is rolling once again at SU Soccer Stadium. The Orange looking to defend not only their national championship, but a #1 ranking in the preseason poll from the United Soccer Coaches with 4 first-place votes.
And it's difficult when you have so many new players, but it appears the energy is right where they left off last season. Good to set the tempo. Aggression, get in, press early. Syracuse plays well when it's imposing off the ball and on the ball. But more importantly, if you're playing like that off the ball, you can create chances higher up in the attacking third.
Lorenzo Baselli wearing the number 10 shirt this season, vacated by Nathan Opoku, who was unable to be eligible for the MLS draft. So Leicester City of the Premier League stepped in, picked him up. Currently on loan in Belgium, has already the back three for Syracuse called into action. Josh Ballou's able to corral things. Baselli now, some space in front of him and looking to explore. It's a physical challenge, a meaty one, but fair. Friars right the other way. Rather than Taylor Levesque winning it. Looked a bit physical there, Jared. Referee says nothing doing.
It's going to get way more physical here tonight, so it's just a matter of the referee making the right calls when it gets a little bit too far over the bar.
Messer's header corralled by Kalukian instead, and the ball for Baselli not quite there. Already the 2 forwards for the Orange communicating. How about that role to fill? Nathan Opoku and Levante Johnson with 22 goals between them. The big question for the Orange this year is who's going to be that goal scorer? We talked about Jonah Leibold, we talked about Lorenzo Baselli, but really, with the first day of the season, it's up for grabs.
It's going to be very difficult to tell, Philip, because Lorenzo Baselli is playing in an advanced role as one of the strikers, and last season, he was playing as a center attacking mid behind Levante and Nathan Opoku. So, not only is he adjusting, but other players are trying to fill those types of positions. Will Baselli pick up the scoring role? I mean, it's too early to tell, but that's where he's slotted in right now.
Mateo Levesque, the UConn transfer, has dropped back in to a holding midfield position with Ballou's to his right. Gio Kacheski, who usually occupies that role, has gone farther up the pitch. He'll try and support Kalukian, who goes down, and referee waves, play on. One-two for Diarbian in the corner, with Edwards squared up alongside him. Back for Messer. Assessed his options, plays it short. Garcia now. Plenty of space to switch the point of attack, he'll do just that. Cole Dewhurst, the center half, receives the pass and directing traffic as the anchor of the back four. Chipped over the top for Messer, who's going to get in behind Edwards. Has Diarbian in the box. Edwards did get a piece on the cross. Kacheski second to it because he was fouled. Early Providence exploring some real estate on the wings, as was to be expected when Syracuse plays the back three.
And that's important because a lot of these key players, especially the midfield, Philip, it's very imperative that if Providence wants to succeed, they can try to break down that midfield and those outside backs, all playing in relatively new roles, whether transfers or even players that haven't played their last season to fill the voids of senior departures.
Gabriel McKenna's pass into the void, one of 3 Purple Eagles that the Orange picked up. The others being Stephen Hasse and Rodrigo Almeida from a 1-0 contest that the Orange won here at SU Soccer Stadium. Emphatic sliding challenge by Gavin Wigg, conceded for a throw. Earning his first start of the season, only had 2 appearances last year, both off the bench. Nathan Messer to take the throw. Second team All-CAA honoree at the College of William & Mary. A new transfer for Providence as well, with 9 transfers and 7 freshmen. The Friars also doing a little bit of restocking and reshuffling. Obviously crossed into the area, and there was a deflection in there, but the flag goes up regardless.
It looks like it got a piece of both the players off the first touch, but Smith was still in position. The ball trickled out of play. The offside flag easily up.
The head coach for the Orange, Ian McIntyre, coming off the program's first national championship, voted the best coach in all of the land, the best coaching staff as well, and has done some serious work in the offseason to bring in new players. Speed dating was the term he used. Usually it's Syracuse having to take the initiative and go put their names out there, but when you have a star above your crest, Jared, it's a lot easier. Here's Edwards skipping away, running out of room. Good cross to the back stick, nobody there. Falls to Leibold. Onto his left, skipping away from 1 and 2, and the header is in! Lorenzo Baselli starts 2023 for the Orange. The 2 veterans combining. Syracuse takes the lead inside the 6th minute.
That's exactly the start you wanted if you're Syracuse. Jonah Leibold making that play up the left side flank. What do you expect when he gets on his left foot? A perfect delivery. And also, perfect positioning to be there for the header. Lorenzo Baselli had the question to be asked of him. When you're playing up as a striker, can you transition from that center attacking role? He's answered in less than 6 minutes.
Well, when in doubt, when questioned, this Syracuse team always has the response. Lorenzo Baselli higher up the pitch than he's ever been, and already back to scoring ways. With 3 last season, gets the first of 2023. Jonah Leibold on the assist as well, who had a handful of assists in the preseason. In fact, every exhibition game for the Orange, all 3 of them had multiple goal scorers, and each game had at least 1 Orange player with multiple goals. So despite no Nate Opoku, despite no Levante Johnson, this team can still find the back of the net with just about anybody. Goal kick for Jason Smith as the excellent home crowd tonight for the opener is riled up for a t-shirt toss. Don't think it's going to reach up here though, Jared.
I'd like one, but undeserving.
Wigg moving it along to Olu Oyegunle, who stepped into a starting role at the tail end of last year. The Ontario native into his junior year, moves it along to the senior, McKenna, Kacheski, and Belouz. 3 Friars around him, and he coughs it up. Here goes Diarbian. Wants the 1-2, and it's cut away by Belouz.
It's a huge play for Belouz early on to get back defensively. This Orange back line still learning to adjust and communicate.
There's Craig Stewart in his 12th season in charge of Providence College with 8 trips to the NCAA tournament. An all-time record at about 60%. Short corner taken quickly. Edwards, right in front of his head coach, who was beckoning him to hustle it down, does just that.
I'll tell you that Nate Edwards, one of the early surprises for this Syracuse roster. Really quick on his feet, really active and physical defensively. A senior transfer that's really played well in the early minutes on that right back position.
Messer surveying his options, didn't get it back. And did for a second there, and it skips through the wickets. The Orange now with a chance to settle it down. And Jared, when you have a back three, you can be a little bit exposed on the channels, but so far the Orange not too phased to play wide. They'll have to defend now. Batista, all the way wide, options queuing up in the center. Cross headed away by Oyegunle for another Providence corner.
Good positioning from Oyegunle, and he's stepping into one of those leadership roles in that back line. I mean, Booster Schoberg was in the lineup. He's still on the roster, but isn't playing this year, so it's really up to Olu to take that leadership role, be more vocal on that back line with all the transfers and new players coming in.
And swinger on the left foot, short to the front post. Time to get it away, and a chance for the Orange to step up a little bit. As you mentioned, Oyegunle stepping into that starting role toward the tail end of last year, and usually that left center back position was occupied by one Abdi Salim, taken by Orlando City in the MLS Super Draft, one of 5 Orange players picked up.
And hey, you want to talk about the success of Syracuse in the transfer portal? Abdi, a Buffalo player, transferring. So a lot of the success stories for Syracuse as one of these teams that's continuing to grow in the ACC, which is a powerhouse conference. Sometimes you got to pick and find players in the rough that might be a diamond later on in the future, and they've definitely seen a lot of those come to fruition.
The words of Dallin Cuff were forgotten about, left behind, will now never be forgotten again. Those transfers that dared to dream. With this program with 15 new faces, no stranger to that transfer portal. Just a bit of nervousness at the back. Smith a little bit out of position. Oyegunle over to cover.
Providence is going over the top, and especially on McKenna's side 1v1. So there's 2 things that he has to do as that right-sided center back. It's either step up and make the play or drop off, because he's getting beat with pace, and they're really targeting him right now one-on-one, the Niagara transfer.
Diego Batista, another transfer from the NJCAA Monroe College, defending Division I national champion in his own right. Forced all the way back. Cartwright. Space for another ball over the top. McSorley was calling for it. He manages to keep it in play for a moment. Referee overrules it and says goal kick. Here is McKenna. Kucheski told to vacate his space. He had dropped back for the short pass. Belouz will do that now. Now Kucheski. Creative flick opens up Kalukian for the turn and the 1-2. Gio Kucheski, the local product, goes down and immediately back on his feet without much complaint. Belouz in the way. Edwards showing for the near pass. Edwards looking for the cross. Running out of room, going down again. Jared already physical play down this near side channel.
It's good.
Orange are back up top.
It's good from Edwards to win the corner. Looked like he ran out of real estate there, but gets the fortunate bounce, and Syracuse has a set piece.
It has been Providence exploring some space in the attacking third. Now Mateo Levesque, Frenchman, looking to send one in. Players queuing at the back corner of the 6-yard box. And it is a short corner. It's flicked on. It's a second! It's Baselli again! 3 goals in 2022, 2 goals in the 2023 season opener, and it's still the first half.
Not even 15 minutes through the first half. And it's terrific service from Mateo Levesque, because that ball curls right in front of the near post, and Lorenzo Baselli's making the right run, in between those defenders. It doesn't get more perfect than that, but it starts with the delivery. So a fantastic assist, fantastic finish. Lorenzo Vaselli, you have yourself a brace.
You can see what it means to the man who didn't know what it was like to lose in college soccer until he came to Syracuse last year. Winning becomes contagious with him. That was the words of head coach Ian McIntyre. He has some more words to some of the other starters. 32:59 on the clock, and it is the start that Coach McIntyre was dreaming about last night before bed.
Couldn't get any better than that so far, limiting Providence mostly defensively. The big thing is, Philip, Syracuse is really still working out the little problems they have as far as just having new players settle into a system. You still see some of those little mistakes, but it's all about limiting that and then obviously becoming a bit more cohesive as a group as the season rolls along.
And it must be mentioned that Lorenzo Vaselli, only 5'11", this team was not really relying on set pieces for scoring goals last year. It was not their strong suit. As a very poor pass in midfield sees a turnover. Apologies. Trying to put a Band-Aid over the wound. Sent long, Kaluki in the chase. Dewhurst matching him for every step and rising above to head it down. Not many options afforded in midfield. Dewhurst along to the far side. McSorley checking in and receiving the ball. Gave it away once again. Not many orange shirts in the box available as an option. Chip cross into the middle. The orange not really throwing numbers forward, much more measured and patient on offense. A contrast to their very high-octane style of defensive play, as Gunley, the center back, was all the way up where a midfielder usually is.
Well, what it was a really organized press. A lot of players getting up man on man, and just like that, Mateo Levesque with a tackle. These players are very intentional right now for Ian McIntyre about when they commit, when they find the ball. The Providence players outnumbered, can they force a different transition?
Batista's pass trying to thread the needle, and it's cut away by McKenna. Levesque forced to turn all the way around, now Gunley. Leibold. Thought about running himself, instead trying to play it over in behind for the overlapping run. Landon Cartwright, who is making his first appearance tonight for the Friars, the sophomore, has had his hands full on that far side with Jonah Leibold and Lorenzo Vaselli. Gunley. The Friars just trying to suffocate the ball on the far side of the pitch. A couple stutter steps and another player going down, and another case of the whistle staying silent. This time, though, it will sound. A little bit of jawing after the fact from Brendan McSorley.
Jonah Leibold doing his best Anthony impression, the Manchester United player. You know, sometimes you flare your foot out 20 times, the ball doesn't move. Sometimes you don't get anywhere after that.
These Syracuse players actually got to meet some of those Manchester United players. They took a trip to England in the offseason, and a couple of the new signings got to join them. They played against some incredible teams: Tottenham, Brighton and Hove Albion, Leicester, Aston Villa, all those respective clubs, U21 academy players. But also got to enjoy themselves, meet the Man United players, meet the Tottenham players. They got tickets to the Manchester City Real Madrid Champions League semi-final match, which is just incredible. And we're in the away end for a Liverpool-Leicester game. Got to see what the culture is like over there in a country that just enshrines the sport. And of course, the native country of the head coach of the Orange, Ian McIntyre. Lovely chipped ball. Dispossessed, and he feels it should have been a Flyers throw. for Lucas Burns, whose clean sheet was spoiled 6 minutes in. A little bit more fluidity with the back line of Providence. Players shifting around. Cole Dewhurst, the sweeper, holding down the anchor position. And the assist on the far side is flagged for handball. Jared, Providence really yet to settle into this game, but with Syracuse, it was 2 quick goals. Haven't really seen them break down and control the ball in the attacking third as much as maybe we'd expect with this scoreline.
Well, it's 2 reasons. First and foremost, it's difficult when you let in the first goal 6 minutes in, because then you're behind the 8 ball. The second one is this Syracuse press. I mean, Olia Gunley is basically playing up ahead of the midfielders sometimes.
Leibold with Akers on the far side of the 18 and unable to corral it. As we welcome the head coach of the Orange, Ian McIntyre, onto the broadcast. And coach, gotta be honest, was this really the start you were expecting?
We're playing against a terrific team, and look, the 2-0 probably flatters us a little bit, but we've taken our chances, and that's soccer, right? Putting some tough balls into the box and see if we can get there. But trying to make sure that we get a little bit more pressure on them in the midfield, because they've got some terrific players, and when we give them time like this, they can hurt us.
Coach, what is the thing you've been most pleased about so far, whether it's a position group, just filling in for some of the void from players that have left from last season?
We're playing a terrific team, and we're 2 up in the first 20 minutes. I'm delighted by that. Baselli's continued scoring goals. We've created chances, and when we've played in their half, we've done some good stuff. It's just and getting these balls in behind, we're causing them some real problems. But they're doing the same to us. There's that space in front of our back 3 right now where they're just having a little bit of time on the ball.
Coach, thank you. Best of luck.
Thanks, guys.
Always a treat to get to talk to Coach McIntyre during the broadcast. Never one to hide his emotions on the touchline, that's for sure. Another chance for the Orange. Friars swarming the ball in the area. It's worked back up top, and it's worked into a giveaway. The nutmeg midfield opens up space on the near side. Yarbian checking back. Had an overlapping run with Bazza, didn't get him. Instead back for Dewhurst. Looks to be offside from McSorley, and the flag does go up. Just 1 Friar against 4 Orange defenders. Always a tough task.
Don't forget Jason Smith off his line too, even if he was onside. Smith right there ready out of his box to clean that up. And Syracuse having Russell Shealy last year, looking for answers as far as who's going to be that starting guy. And it's good to see him being off his line, not necessarily just being one-dimensional.
We asked Coach during the week who's going to be the number 1. He didn't have an answer for us then. And then over the weekend in exhibition against Marist, Jason Smith came up with a ridiculous penalty save low to his left-hand side. Maybe that was the decision maker. After all, Smith was named to the USL League 2 Best 11 for his work this summer with the Park City Red Wolves. Another chance for the Orange. Early shot flashes wide. But more build-up play from Syracuse, more passes being connected, and a first look at goal for Nicholas Kalukian.
It's a great look for a very high-profile transfer into this Syracuse squad. Just a sophomore, but the most impressive thing is how he's maneuvering that ball in tight under himself with his feet, just to get a shot away, and it was really close. So good work there from Kalukian.
How about the turn as well with the awareness to keep that, like you said, under his foot, not force anything. Mazat playing Diarbian into space. It is Gavort Diarbian with 2 defenders to beat onto his right foot. Headed down but not away. Dewhurst will step up. The pressure mounting on the Syracuse back line. 2 arms up from Mazat on the near side. Get it now with work to do, and loses it out. Sliding challenge by Nathan Messer. Illegal. Referee stopped play, but Coach McIntyre says they should have played advantage.
Yeah, he wanted the advantage because there was a good play out to Nate Edwards out on that right side flank, but regardless, it was interesting. A really good challenge from McKenna, but that was all because Coach McIntyre was telling him, step up, step up, step up, be decisive. And so the early goings of this game, he's really been pressured on this right side, being one of the transfer guys. Providence definitely targeting McKenna, but now he's settling in a bit more. Just needs to be confident in his decision making.
Wait for Edwards. The midfield wingers for Syracuse have swapped sides, it seems. Kacheski, who usually plays in the center of the park, now occupying the near side touchline and receiving the pass. A couple players making diagonal runs, and an interesting pass idea from Kacheski. Just overhit it a bit.
If that back line was a bit further back, maybe you have a chance on that far post run, but delivery way too close to the netminder.
Physical turnover in midfield. Now Kalukian tripped up. Referee had a great look at it. Once again, Providence, as Coach McIntyre described, the scoreline maybe flattering the Orange a little bit. Friars continuing to mount pressure with Messer. With Garcia now. Calls to switch it long from Dewhurst. Not a lot of Providence players on the far side. More movement in midfield. And again, the high press from Syracuse working its magic. Chesky with room to turn. Edwards has worked himself back to the near side. And another sliding challenge timed to perfection. Messer, DRBN gets the 1-2 back. Ethan Messer has to hold it up. Nobody's with him. Gonna try for the far side. Blues heading it back. It is not the tallest Syracuse team. Josh Balluz at 6'6", the outlier. As Smith is in no hurry to restart proceedings. Chesky again. Jared, is it surprised to see you that so many different orange shirts are taking up so many different positions? I mean, everybody's moving around.
The biggest surprise to me is Kacheski. Expected him to fill that role that Anthony Sinclair did last year as one of those senior captains, but playing in that holding midfield role. But it appears that he's playing a bit further up, which is kind of where he was, a bit more box-to-box. And that's really because of Mateo Levesque and all the other supporting players, including the outside backs. It seems as if instead of having someone that's just completely focused on supporting that back line, they have 2 or 3 guys that are really able to rotate and cause confusion for that Providence midfield. Levesque has been especially potent, especially when it comes to set pieces, but also we continue to watch him shift from closer to the forward line to closer to the defending line. I think that's what's giving Providence the biggest problems at the moment.
Diego Batista and Luis Garcia in the wall. It's a strong cross in, it's a free header, and it's saved. Nearly a third for the Orange. Lucas Burns answers the call.
Another service Didier Deschamps would be proud of. Just Mateo Levesque, the UConn transfer out of France, and he's been really putting every single set piece so far that he's taken on target. At the goal for Lorenzo Baselli, and that one right there had another chance to make it 3.
DRBN forced back. Options maybe on the far side. Garcia trying to check in. Step back for DRBN. Handles the bouncing ball and the challenge. Space to explore. Up top, Miguel Candela found a pass. Finding a player who draws a foul. It's going to work DRBN once again.
Syracuse is man marking DRBN when he gets the ball and his back is turned to goal. Most of the players are holding on that back line, but McKenna or other central midfielders, when DRBN gets that ball, they're right up on top of him no matter where he is on the field. So that's something to watch if he can get that ball and play it off to runners quickly, because Syracuse could get beat leaving space when they're so close to DRBN. But on the contrary, if they can continue forcing pressure, then it disrupts his decision making as long as they don't concede a foul like they just did.
Luis Garcia standing over it. So too is Diego Batista, the two in the wall for the Providence set piece. Sent in by Garcia and sent over the protective netting.
I think that would have been a good play if it was a bit wider as far as the free kick goes. Because it was going so far north-south, Philip, it was very difficult for the players to make that pass back across goal, because ultimately he just ran out of space getting right towards the goal line.
A couple of substitutes warming up for Syracuse. So too for Providence, no change made with 17:30 before the break. Wig for Edwards. A lot of space afforded to the back three for Syracuse. And still, Jonah Leibold and Nate Edwards on the far side, keeping the width. Gavin Wig may well use one of them now. Instead, back for Blues. Providence settling into that 4-4-2 structure. We're going to call it back. Jared, you see something there?
Contact on Edwards' right arm as he was racing up the line. So he gets the first touch, but he was kind of pulled out to get to that second touch, so it's a worthy foul and free kick for Syracuse.
It was Edwards on the near side, Gumley on the far side rather, which speaks to how high the back three for Syracuse can get. Really almost turned into a back two on offense.
Well, it's also that those wing backs just press up basically like midfielders. I mean, look at McKenna right there. That's the right-sided center back. Edwards is nearly in line with the attacking midfielders and forwards.
Landon Cartwright for the Friars, asking for someone to check in. Providence have seldom seen the ball escape the clutches of their defensive half. They'll try the long one now. It's cut away quite easily. They'll lose. Edwards called to turn. Instead plays Levesque in support. One-time flick from Kaluki and the defender slips. Nate Edwards has plenty of space to pick out a pass, and he does so, and the shot is saved once again. Lucas Burns denying Nicholas Kalukian.
Early on, it's Kalukian who's showing a lot of promise and maybe being the answer offensively for Syracuse this season as well. The sophomore transfer again, a ball tight in his feet, gets it out from under him, gets the shot away. Yeah, it's straight at the keeper, but he didn't have a lot of time to make the decision. So to get the shot away, anything can happen. It's good decision making from Nicholas Kalukian to be in the right place yet again.
Candela, the skipper's armband, trying to play McSorley in at pace, tangling with Blues. And both players with a little bit of afters. It did appear that Blues stuck out an arm at the end of things. And the referee will stop things. Both players were being physical. The referee has not had a word to Josh Blues just yet.
I think Blues is running away, hiding from him, doesn't want the talking to. But yeah, both of them were definitely getting physical in each other's faces, but it is Blues you'll see here at the end who does get the face wash towards the end of it. But at the end of the day, it's mostly unintentional. Two guys just battling. You're not necessarily pulling people away when you position your arms, but oftentimes you're just using your arms as kind of barriers to hold off inside positioning, so No harm, no foul, all unintentional rather, behind the play. Providence obviously disagrees with that, but that's what the call will be.
Nicholas Kalukian, the sophomore from the University of Michigan, named to the Big Ten all-freshman team, leading the team with 9 points, 4 goals in his first ever collegiate soccer season. He's seen a lot of the goal tonight, Jared. What have you liked about his play?
It's his position at play. It's being in the right place and receiving the ball to feet and getting a shot off quickly. Obviously, players are great getting behind the line. There are different play styles you could find from a striker, but for Kalukian, he succeeds creeping in behind the defense, then stopping up so that there's space for him to take a touch and make a shot. He's not a guy you're going to see race behind the line. He's a guy that's going to receive the ball to feet and make plays, and so far he's had 2 great opportunities he just couldn't cash in on. I mean, Kalukian is really impressed. I think Levesque has been extremely impressive as well. A lot of transfers, but Levesque from a service perspective and just making those crucial passes. This midfield has been very good just for the first game.
It will be a first change of the match for Coach Craig Stewart in Providence, as Brendan McSorley is replaced by Bruno Rosa, a sophomore for a sophomore. Rosa joining his college teammate Diego Batista in midfield, both making the jump to Providence from Monroe College, the defending NJCAA Division I national champions. Two Portuguese players as well, joining Bernardo Prego and Rodrigo Vazá in midfield. An interesting pipeline, Portugal to Providence. Maybe not expected, but we talked to the coaching staff of the Friars, and they said there's actually quite a lot of first and second generation Portuguese families in Providence, so it helps with not only the culture on the field, these players, but the culture off the field and giving them that sense of belonging.
And not just Providence, but you think of New England and even into the New Jersey area as well. So it definitely makes sense, and it's all up to the program as well to create that culture and that environment. And obviously, Providence has been able to find that sort of environment that brings in a lot of these really great transfers that come from these junior college schools as well.
And now, it seems Coach McIntyre may be prompted to make a couple changes. First, it will be another Providence change. At least that's what Diego Batista is waiting for. The referees having a little bit of a chat. Batista was announced to be leaving the action. He's walked back onto the pitch. The other Monroe College player not out just yet. Lovely turn on the roulette from Garcia, opening up space for Kalukian. Rather Diarbian. Shoulder-to-shoulder challenge. Leibel going down, getting right back on his feet.
There's Jonah, so strong. So strong on the ball. That's what he does. Wins the ball on the challenge, takes a first touch past him, and then all you can do is foul him, otherwise he's in behind.
And how much do you love to see that from a forward? When they go down, they get right back on their feet and they start fighting for the ball again.
Well, he's one of those guys, too, that you think of the modern game, too. So many dives, so many embellishments. Jonah gets back to his feet and he keeps going. There have been times last season, think back to some of the out-of-conference games where Jonah gets fouled, chopped down, he gets back up, creates a chance or a goal-scoring opportunity.
So Pierce O'Brien, the freshman out of West Hartford, poised to enter the fray, and now Diego Batista will make way. O'Brien, who trained down the road with the Hartford Athletic Club for the USL Championship, who aren't really having a season to write home about, but still getting to play practice with a professional soccer team. Quite the experience. Botched throw, though. Not often you see that, Jared.
And given the conditions and the rain subsiding, is a bit surprising. Pitch isn't as slick as it was earlier for the women's game.
Syracuse women's team, their home opener, falling 2-1 to Auburn on this pitch a little bit earlier. It was a good game. But head coach Nikki Adams and her squad just unable to claw their way back into it. Although it must be said, it looks like the pitch has held up quite well from that game despite the rain and the action. for the switch. William Gunley tracking back. What a sliding challenge that is.
Beautiful tackle, wrangling his way around to get to the ball first.
We mentioned the SU women's team with their home opener today. They'll be back at home this Sunday at 7 playing an in-state foe in Binghamton before a 5-game road trip for Coach Adams and her squad. That one at 7 Eastern on ACC Network Extra.
Worth mentioning, it's their senior night too, getting it done early, especially with that 5-game road trip, so they expect SU Soccer Stadium to have all the fans in the house.
Plenty of changes to talk about for the Orange. Daniel Diaz-Bonilla, Pablo Pedregosa, and Booster Hobart into the action. Must be mentioned, Booster Hobart, one of the 4 captains for the Orange this year. Had 19 appearances with 17 starts in 2022. Didn't see the tail end of the season that much due to injury, and was actually drafted in the 3rd round of the MLS Super Draft by the Vancouver Whitecaps. Elected to come back for one more year instead of joining his teammate Levante Johnson in Vancouver.
Guess you're trading one frozen tundra for another in Syracuse and Vancouver, but...
Well, he's from Sweden, so it's not that much unlike home.
But also, Booster with a lot to prove. You think about him getting injured towards basically that entire postseason run. A player that played a crucial part in their regular season championships, but you have to think he does have a soft spot in saying if they could repeat, it would be huge to be a part of that run and gain even more experience before potential professional career.
His first start since November the 6th against North Carolina. Only made 2 more appearances in the postseason, both off the bench and for menial minutes. Flicked on the far side. Orange kicks charging forward, and it was an open man at the back post. Intercepted by Burns.
Yeah, that was Diaz-Bonilla creeping in. A driven cross, though, so I don't know if he had the height to get on that, but good idea, good positioning on the back post run.
Diaz-Bonilla from Princeton University, 2nd team All-Ivy. So many names to talk about with this Orange team, it can almost get a little bit confusing. Kacheski. Wig. Diaz-Bonilla heading it once, and then taken down in midfield. Lazat tripped up in the middle. Here's O'Brien, the lone freshman, on the pitch right now. And with just about 9 minutes to go in this first half, Syracuse with 6 shots. Providence still yet to muster one, despite how much of the ball they've seen, Jared.
And I think that's misleading, too, because Providence hasn't found those shots, at least getting centered in front of goal in the attacking third, but they've been threatening and manipulating the back 3. Syracuse has kind of bent and not broken. I think that's the best way to put it. There have been times where the back line has looked a bit separated, but had chances to recover.
There is Felipe D'Agostini, who we talked about earlier. He will join Michael Susky, the Oral Roberts and the Boston College transfers, respectively. A straight swap up top. Levesque and Kalukian will take a rest. With such a deep roster, Coach McIntyre would be wrong not to use as many options as he has. And the Orange had 3 exhibition games to look at these players. All 3 resulted in a win, a 13-0 combined aggregate score at that. This team yet to know what it's like to concede a goal this calendar year. Wig rising above. Selly flicking it on. Instead falls for Messer. Pinball right in front of midfield. Nobody bringing it down just yet. Susky trying to do just that. D'Agostini will, but only for a moment. Leibold went down on the far side. Referee had a blind eye to it. Baselli in his brand new number 10 kit that he has defended well in the first half. 2 goals for the Orange, both coming from the Italian, and Jared, you have your hands up.
I mean, he had the ball, and then He shouldered a defender off the ball. It's quite simple. I mean, there's something called gravity, inertia, whatever you want to call it. I didn't study that, but ultimately, Jonah Leibold's the freight train that's running, and if you're standing in his way, he's going to shoulder you down.
Well, the ball got away from him a little bit there, no? It looked like the defender had set his feet well before the Leibold train made its stop at the station.
But at the end of the day, you got to play the ball. Can't just stand in front of the ball. He was just expecting to get pummeled there.
Selly pointing to his skywards pass. Yes, Bonilla took it down, and it has stayed in play.
Important to watch for the last few minutes. Baselli playing in that deeper role in the midfield now, so D'Agostini is further up the pitch with Michael Susky as well.
Susky hops back onto his feet acrobatically. It looked a clean challenge once again. Messer, who has seen a lot of the ball in the near touchline, Providence have not really explored the far side as far as attacking phases go.
I think they're scared of Jonah Leibold. That's what I think they're scared of, but ultimately, you got to switch the field of play at some point. Yeah, the newer players in the roster are playing on this right side, but it's getting a bit too telegraphed for Syracuse. They know what's going to happen if you're just going to target some of these new transfer guys on the right side. So they do have to switch the field of play a bit more often.
Azar, sliding challenge, sees the Providence attack stopped and extracts. Calls for the switch to the near side with Diaz Bonilla. Teed up across right into the defender in front of him. Miguel Candela fighting for it, but losing out for a throw. Evan Wigg will step up instead. Students making noise. Right in front of alumni corner for the Orange. Fantastic season opening crowd. First cross cut away, second time of asking. And Susky second to it. The Orange still staying alive through Gio Kacheski. Diaz Bonilla with a toe poke through the line. Corralled only by Lucas Burns.
No rudder there, and the ball is too direct. You're so close to the box there, and it just goes straight to the goalkeeper.
4.5 to the break. Still 2-0 the Orange, and 2-0 to Lorenzo Baselli. Pablo Pedregosa, an ACC transfer coming from the Wolfpack at NC State. Played every minute of the season for NC State last season.
And in the midst of all the transfers that come, it is nice to have someone from an ACC school like a Susky, like a Pedregosa, that can really bring that experience of playing against some of those ACC opponents later on in the season. Obviously, it's too early to tell to see how they'll factor in at those moments, but that experience is still valuable.
High press from the Orange, nearly earning its merit. Providence have been pushed well back within their defensive third. The Syracuse attack unrelenting. D'Agostini will try his luck. Didn't catch quite all of it. And Lucas Burns has been very busy the past 15-20 minutes.
But where did that all start? The Syracuse press. The Friars with no outlet passing. They forced the ball up to the midfield. The first touch pass went right to nobody in the middle of the pitch. So Syracuse is just being smart and not playing scared. And Providence is doing the opposite.
Oh, they're heading it down, rather. Messer forced back with Candela. Maybe another long ball. This one a little bit more hurried from the keeper. Appeals for offside, given once again. An offside trap, Jared, one of the most nervy defensive practices, because when it works, and when it doesn't, well, you're in trouble.
I'll call Jason Smith your insurance policy, though, because again, he's off his line, out of his box. That's exactly how you want a goalie to play in the modern age, to be aggressive, read those plays over the top, because it gives you that extra layer of security.
Diaz Bonilla, Agostini now. Brazilian has some tricks up his sleeve, instead plays the smart pass. Pedregosa. Leibel. He's going to take on his defender and move it along as well. Scuffed clearance. The Orange just suffocating right now. Wig. Susky stuck out a right foot. Booster Holberg will settle it down a little bit more. That was the attacking phase that Coach McIntyre talked about a little earlier on in this match. We got to speak with him how really the scoreline flattered them, but the last 3 or 4 minutes or so, Syracuse just not letting Providence clear their lines.
Especially in the early stage of the season, too. The scoreline is not important as much as how Syracuse controls the game. It's those moments that aren't on the scoreboard, the challenges, the tackles, the transition play.
1 minute ago, here's O'Brien trying to keep it in and does. Not much time left for Providence to spoil the party before the break. Here is Cole Dewhurst. Candela to his left. Messer making the run, instead intended for Bruno Rosa. And despite a 2-0 scoreline, as ever, Coach McIntyre barking out orders. There's only 26 seconds left. That's just how he rolls.
Smith's taking his sweet time. He hasn't been busy at all this first half.
And it looks like Jason Smith will, in fact, send it long one last time and head it out of play. As time will expire on the first 45, the defending national champions with 2 goals to the good to bring into the locker room, both from Lorenzo Baselli. Syracuse defending its #1 ranking pretty well so far, Jared?
Yeah, and maybe even more could have been done. They had a lot more chances earlier on in that first half. Ian McIntyre very happy with the positioning of your players, especially in the attacking build-up in that final third.